Okay. My name is Dina Katie. My SCA name is Lorelei, Duchess Lockehaven. I'm married to Duke Arthur of Lockhaven and have been for 43 years now.
How long have you been in the SCA?
Oh, I started in 1970, so it's 45 years now.
Wow. So, do you remember your first event?
Very well. We went to it was a principality, it was a princely tournament. It was to get the next Prince of Atenveldt, which would have been like the second or third. We hadn't been a principality for very long. And we had just formed a household with a group of women. It was Houses Agamar. And I say women, I really mean girls. We were still in high school. But we came out to this tournament and it was crazy. It was wonderful. It was magical. But it was, I think, the first time I found a group of people where I felt really at home. Because we all loved history and the fantasy part of it and dressing up. And, oh, the men were beautiful. And they're sword fighting, for heaven's sake. It doesn't get better than that.
Was there anything about that first event that really had you hooked?
Well, I developed a crush on this guy. Who's presently my husband. He didn't know it yet. I had seen him before at a fighter practice. The first time I saw my husband was at Pierce Park at a fighter practice on a Sunday, and we'd brought down iced tea to kind of introduce ourselves. And there he was, just came off the field. He pulled the tunic off, standing there bare-chested in a pair of tight jeans and engineer boots, and yeah. That was it. And I hadn't met him yet. And really, I didn't meet him until, oh gosh, a few months later. We were doing some filming for the Salt River Project. And after the filming was done and everybody's still in costume, and we had, people ready to go to fight, so they decided they wanted to have a battle. And he came over and asked me very politely if I could be abducted. He threw me over his shoulder and carried me away. And that's what started the battle. And I went home and I told my mother I was going to marry this guy.
Oh.
And she said, well, what's his name? I don't know yet, but I'll find out. I didn't tell him that for a long time.
What about when you got your AOA? So it sounds like it was a little out of order.
Yes. Back then we didn't do things looking for awards. We did it because it was fun. And the thought of, oh, if I do this, I'll get my award of arms. It's like, never would have crossed our minds.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't think I have an award of arms. I got a grant of arms when I became queen. So,
Wow.
I don't have a certificate or anything. I don't have any proof. But it was just in the beginning. We were really still figuring it out. All the stuff that's set in stone now, we were kind of making up on the fly. In fact, it's kind of funny for me to see that it's set in stone.
Because it was on the fly.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we were inventing it. And, we wanted our kingdom to be different from any other kingdom. So when we finally became a kingdom, we did. We made it different. And it was... I'm sorry for the people who weren't there, because they see it as a fait accompli. They don't know what went into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were a little more lighthearted than some of the people now in charge. A little more likely to laugh.
What about your first crown tourney?
First crown tourney was the first crown tourney here.
Oh, wow.
It was when Rick Cook won, when we became a kingdom. And boy, was that exciting. Because Rick Cook started the group. And he had the respect of everybody. And it couldn't have been more perfect that he win. And he did. And it was a hard fight. Everybody wanted to be king. But it was a very exciting thing. Yes, I will remember it always.
Was there a certain event that you autocrated that really stands out to you?
Probably we had a 12th night event at Girard High School. We used their hall. And It was just, being in charge of something like that. I think I was all of 18. And organizing it, putting it together. I learned a lot from it. I've learned a lot just from being in the SCA. Just lifetime skills. But, yeah, it wasn't as big as the events we have now. I think we might have had maybe 50 people there.
Oh, wow.
But we didn't have a charge at the door, so what we did was we passed the helmet. And people would put money into the helmet, and we'd get to the end and count it up and see if we had enough to pay for the hall. And if we didn't, we just sent the helmet around again until we did.
Sometimes we go 2
Yeah.
or 3.
Yeah, you have to pass the helm. That's what that's from.
I've heard it. I've never seen it. But
Oh, it worked. Back then, well, nobody had any money. And we were all poor students for the most part. And, I mean, we only had a couple of members who were over 21 and could sign contracts. It was a much younger group then.
So what was your first officer position?
Queen.
Queen was your very first position.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like big shoes.
Yeah, it was. But I had good people to follow. And again, it was a smaller group. Although, in fact, our kingdom actually at that time stretched to Florida and then up to Canada. Because Atenveldt was enormous. We had all the land that wasn't specifically west, east, or middle. And, we'd get weird phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning with someone terribly upset because they were insulted by somebody else in Florida. Like, you know what time it is?
So you're supposed to manage that too? Like
Yeah.
everyone in Florida? And...
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was ridiculous, yeah.
How can
We
you
needed
manage?
to break up.
Yeah.
Well, everything was slower then. It was letters, or it was no emails. It was phone calls, and back then you had to pay for long distance, so most of the time you didn't call.
So they better really want to talk to you then.
Yeah, and you better keep it short.
So this is expensive.
Yeah.
Hi, kitty.
Excuse me.
You want to talk about the SCA too? Yeah? Okay. Was there an investiture that was special to you?
Well, my own.
Oh, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it was. Actually, it was extra special because we had gotten married the day before.
Oh.
Our wedding, we had planned our wedding, and then he won the tournament. And it's funny, I wasn't even there when he won. I was working that day. But our honeymoon basically was spent camping out with a group of friends because we had our coronation on Saturday after the wedding on Friday. It's very romantic. How do you beat that?
Right?
And then we had school on Monday because we were both still going to ASU.
Short and sweet honeymoon.
Yeah.
What about the first coronation that you attended?
Oh, the first coronation wasn't mine. It would be the one for Rick and Farmer, for Patty. The first one. And that was wonderful.
Was there anything that stood out?
Just, we were all so excited because to become a kingdom was really an extraordinary thing. There hadn't ever been any kingdom that was created before like that, where we had been a principality and we broke away. So it was brand new. So we basically invented how it was going to be done. And what they had done was the fighters had gone up to the West Kingdom and demanded the crown. And in Atenveldt, it's tradition, you crown yourself. You're not crowned by somebody else. And it's because of that we took it. Because it was ours. And it was just an exciting time. Very dramatic, We're all so passionate and young, and it meant so much at that time.
So we haven't talked about your heraldry at all. So how did you choose it, and tell me about it?
My husband's heraldry is the lantern, which, is very plain. It's a blue shield with a gold lantern on it. I'm the candle within it.
Oh.
So my heraldry is simply a candle on a shield. It's a split shield, blue and gold, and then the candle in the center. Now I have an augmentation of arms, and I haven't really decided where to put it. When I got off the board of directors, they were kind enough to give that to me. And that was sweet. That was very nice. And then the other thing that was a really wonderful event for me was for our 25th wedding anniversary, we renewed our vows. And I wanted to hold a revel for that. So we held a romance revel. And the whole thing was about romance, and you could write poetry and recite it, and everyone was encouraged to take part in that whole feeling. And as a surprise, I'm sitting in the back of the hall thoroughly enjoying myself. I had just taken a big bite of bread, and they offered me a pelican. Like I called up in front of the crowd and chewing frantically. And back then, we didn't generally do all the big ceremonies. If you accepted it, they gave it to you and you took it. And now it's more like planning a wedding. It's really impressive. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was very fun. In fact, I wore my pelican to work at the hospital just because I knew what it meant.
Did anyone ask you?
Yes, a few people, but I didn't explain it. Oh, some jewelry I got yesterday.
So, what about, you've probably been to a lot of Estrella Wars.
I have, yes.
So what's your favorite memory of Estrella War?
We were talking in there a little bit about it. All of my favorite memories have to do with being with good friends and things like that, and being able to just wander around. You go, from one camp full of friends to another camp full of friends, and it's like you're always welcome. And then you meet new people, strangers, and they welcome you too. Probably, let me think. It was probably the Estrella when we first came back, because we took a break for a while. We were having children and careers and things. And I had gone to an event without my husband. And in fact, I'd gone to an Estrella with some friends, and I really wanted him to come back and play. So the next year, I brought him along. And what was fun was him wandering around with his camera going, oh my God. Oh my God, look at this. Because it had grown exponentially. When we left, it was still on the small side, and when we came back, it was enormous.
That's fun.
And it was, there were times I remember when we didn't know if it was going to continue. We actually said things like, I don't know if this will be here in 10 years. But now look at it.
Yeah,
And it's worldwide. I sat on the board of directors from 2003 to 2006, and that was an education to be on the business end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were important things to do. And you get involved in some of the ugly stuff that you really wish weren't happening.
But you have to deal with it.
But, just statistically, the numbers of people that we have, it's going to happen. And to get back into the fun of it again is what I like. The business end of it's really not that much fun. Yeah. But instructive. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Was there a certain feast that stands out to you?
I like to serve at feast because it surprises people.
When
we first came back, I served at a feast at an event up in Prescott, I think. And we had just come back. People didn't recognize us or know who we were. So that was fun. So, bring them back the plate and...
They're like, oh my gosh.
For you. And this one fellow kept chasing me around trying to take the tray away from me. You're Grace. I said, just let me have that.
Give me my tray back.
Yeah. Are you arguing with me?
No. We talked about it a little bit, but when you met someone in the SCA that was special to you, or people in the SCA
well,
that
the
you
most
met?
special, of course, is my husband. But everyone I've met, we grew up together. We've known each other now, 45 years. To go from being basically children to where we are now. We see each other, and it's like we're back being 17, 18 years old again. Because old friends, that's what it means. And anytime I go to an event where they are there, I'm happy. Like today, you guys came over for this, and we invited friends who I thought you might like to interview, and just having time with them. You've heard us in there laughing. No, the
Yeah.
friendships, that's the deepest part.
Yeah.
And, we've been through a lot together. But 45 years together, those are old friends, and you don't make old friends.
No. Hi, kitty. Is there any specific award that really stood out to you? Or really, I guess not really award, because you guys didn't really do awards so much. I guess
Oh, the Pelican meant a lot to me.
the Pelican.
Yeah,
Oh, I can imagine.
that was a surprise.
So you're just chewing bread.
Yeah, just taking a mouthful of roll, and well, Dennis of the Titans came from the front where the crown was, because we usually don't like court. I usually sit in the back so I can leave early. But this was at my event, so I figured I better stay. And they called me forward, and I'm literally trying to chew to be able to get up there without, and of course my mouth went totally dry. But that was very nice. And I got the Queen's Grace, and that was a surprise too. And when I got the augmentation of arms, I did not expect that.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't even sure we were going to go to the event. So, special things, nice surprises.
Yeah, yeah. Were there any other stories that you wanted to talk about, or anything else?
So many things. So many things. Most of it is just growing up together and seeing something that we have developed grow into something this enormous. Every kingdom has its own personality, and I think Atenveldt's very special.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to be kind of iconoclastic, and well, at least we used to. I think we're becoming very conservative, which is sort of a surprise to me. But when I was on the board, I got a chance to travel to the other kingdoms, and they're all wonderful. They really are. Everybody is basically the same in their interests, and gosh, the arts and the sciences and the things that we do. The sword fighting is, I never fought. However, I did host a women's tournament at Australia for about 10 years.
That still goes on.
I know, but it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
I had to give that up. But it was something I enjoyed, mostly because I remembered the fight when Sir Trudy wanted to fight, and there was actual discussion as to whether women should be allowed to be sword fighters. And no, we were just coming out of the 60s with that, and it's like, I'm not going to, women can do whatever they want to do. If they are capable of it, they can do it. So that's why I hosted the women's tournament, is because there has to be a level place for them to compete with each other. Women will not physically ever have the upper body strength because we are built differently, thank goodness. But I actually had a little bit of blowback with that, with some of the women fighters said, well, no, we want to be treated just like the guys. And that's not what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
This is a chance for you to meet with other female fighters, to have a chance to compete in an area where there isn't any difference of somebody with, big broad shoulders coming in just because he has, testicles. Because they do have an advantage.
Yeah.
But we had great fighting, and it was fun. We had fighting. Let me see. There was a woman from Sweden, from Japan, one from Germany. I mean, they came from all over the world. And there's an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to get to meet those people and to see them fight. But I never fought. I got fought for and I got fought over, but I didn't fight.
That was actually one of my first events, was the women's tourney.
Was it really?
At my first Australia.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And I'm like, oh my god, girls do this? Like,
Yes.
no way! So that was one of my... And there were a good group of girls there. It still
yes,
goes
and
on.
there's some darn good fighting, and they
Yes.
fight clean.
Oh,
they fight
yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fantastic, because it's one of the things I enjoy. So
I'm so glad.
Very
I'm so
cool.
glad you have that memory.
I do.
Perfect. Perfect. You just made me feel better.
Is there anything else?
I can't think of anything. If you have any other questions, I'll certainly be glad to talk to you again.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.